Now, Bjorn and Frida were recently in London for the launch of the official ABBA photograph book. They granted us an exclusive interview. Sadly, I wasn't in London that day, so in my absence, Paddy O'Connell asked them what they remembered of the night.
It was so tense. I was so nervous that before we won, I hardly remember anything other than, do you remember that I had to stand up in the bus going from the hotel to the arena because my trousers were too tight?
Yeah, I remember that very well.
Also, your boots were as high as your shoulders, Bjorn.
Yes.
You couldn't sit in those boots.
Strutting around on them.
No, yeah, I think, we were so focused on what we were going to do, so you don't have any space in your mind for anything else.
Let me start with a song. You're on record, Bjorn, as saying it was a better song in English than in Swedish.
Well, English is the language of pop. Ever since Elvis Presley, I think it's absolutely the best language to sing pop in.
And that's why you needed Eurovision, to break out from a quite traditional Swedish scene that you'd been performing in as youngsters.
Absolutely. Born in Sweden, or in my case Norway, you grew up there, and it was a very small country at that time. And if you wanted to get away, or if you wanted to thrive, then you had to look for other sources, other ways to get out.
Sweden is very export-oriented.
Did you know that Waterloo was your ticket to ride?
We hoped for it, didn't we?
We hoped.
Yeah, but you can never know anything, can you?
No, I was hoping for like number 7 or something, that would have been good too.
Do you think so?
We come to the night, and the first thing I really remember is the conductor walking out dressed as Napoleon.
Yes.
That was hilarious, wasn't it? Yeah. Everyone loved it, I think.
And then we come to the performance. You're already standing on the stage, Bjorn, and the girls are behind. What's going through your heart, you and Benny, at that time?
This is exactly what I cannot remember.
I hope my trousers will not crack.
Yes, maybe that. But so tense, you cannot imagine.
And the costumes, you went on to have so much fun with them. And you, Frida, you had a dress.
Yeah.
And Agneta had the blue trouser
yes,
suit.
Yes, exactly, the very famous blue one.
Did you fight over that?
No, not at all. Luckily enough, Agneta and I always had different tastes. And also, I didn't have these plateau shoes. I had quite normal boots on.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
You've had a love affair with the UK, but that night we gave you no points. Do you remember that?
Yes. I think I stopped the interview now.
No, that was incredible. And why was that? When we went to Top of the Pops just a few days after, and then it was straight to number 1. So why would the UK give us 0?
We're still cross about that now.
Yes, yes, still.
We look to your first meeting and we think that it might have been 1963, that you may have met during a talent contest. Do we know if this is true?
Yes, Bjorn don't remember that, but I do remember it because he was in the group called Houghton and his Singers.
Oh.
You don't like that name, do you?
No,
and they won.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, and I was so spoiled because, at that time you participated in very many talent competitions. And usually I won them all. But there he was, winning over me. I'll never forgiven you for that.
No.
And funnily enough, although Eurovision was your diving board, your springboard, you had to shake it off, didn't you? Because people wanted you to be a one-hit wonder, it seems to me.
But
exactly.
I don't think we made any effort to shake it off. It was just a natural development that eventually we became something else.
But we were actually searching for our true identity. I think we looked upon ourselves a little more as one of those glam rock acts. And it was only a year after or so that when we recorded Mamma Mia and SOS, that's when we knew that we are a pop group and nothing but.
Is the reason you're not a history book on the shelf, is the reason that we like to listen to you now, your fans, because you were pure pop, you were innocent, you were loving it?
Yeah.
I think that has a big part in it. Because we were, in a way, innocent, we actually worked with what we absolutely loved. And not being totally new beginners, as we had worked, as you mentioned earlier, we worked for many years before that. And that led us to what happened then. It's just pure happiness to work with music. It's always been like that, hasn't it?
Yes, and we wrote from the heart exactly what we liked.
Breakup did come to you, didn't it? It's very moving for me in your book here. When I go to the back, we see you again in here. You're together, but you're on separate pages. Is that a metaphor in a way?
Yes, that is a good metaphor. Still friends, but on different pages. We have done different things,
And we've been through a lot of different things in our lives as well, you know. Those things affect you, of course. I, for example, have lived outside Sweden for 30 years.
Agneta told our show in the last few months that you, Frida, and her had a lovely time in Mallorca together. Mm-hmm. And we feel surprised because we think you all drifted.
Yeah, but you do drift very naturally when something has come to an end. And then you lead your new life, so to speak, if I can use those terms. And then I have noticed with age that you actually come back to who you were and what you were from the start. And this is what has happened for me. And I love to meet with Bjorn, Benny and Agneta, and I love to see them. And, you know, that love has always been there.
But also, I remember one moment when Mamma Mia, the movie, opened in Stockholm. That was the first time for a long time that the four of us were together, just the four of us standing in the lobby of a hotel. And I remember feeling, wow, it's sort of in a split second, everything came back. The bonds that we have, because we've gone through so much together.
We know you won't reform. And are you getting stronger in that view? Because it was about youth, you almost shouldn't. Do you feel stronger about that decision as you get older?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, looking at the picture behind us there with the four of us very sparkling on stage, delivering our songs, I mean, would you really want to see an old woman and an old man you know, performing that again? I don't think so, to be honest.
And I think, you know, there's something to the fact that we are the only group that never came back.
Yeah. A final word about Eurovision. Has it lost its way a bit? And anyone can sing in it now all over the world practically. There's more dance sometimes than song.
Yeah, I think it would be wonderful if music came back and not as... you know, it has turned out to become a spectacle instead. It's like a big show, isn't it?
Yeah, in the beginning, the idea was to have the song of Europe, and the song was the centerpiece. Well, so if it could come back to that.
Is there a question that you've never been asked? You've done this is your millionth interview, I think. Have you a question for Bjorn, Frida?
What would be appropriate to ask you? I have no clue.
Do I have a question for Frida?
Please.
Was there ever anything that you felt awkward about singing when I came with the lyrics in the morning of the recording session? Was there anything that you felt, I don't want to sing this?
But, you know, sometimes you did, before you wrote the real, actual lyrics to the song, you wrote a lot of gibberish.
Yes.
And that was maybe a bit awkward to sing. But otherwise, no. I've been very proud to sing your lyrics all along. Absolutely.
Oh, good. Thank you, Frida.
And then I have to ask you, were there one song that Agneta sang and not me that you regretted that I didn't sing?
That's a good question, but because it was very much a question of fairness. If we were recording one album and Agneta had recorded 3 songs and you just one, the next song was yours. So it was more like that, I think. Well, no, I don't think there is. You know, it came out very, very well, all of them in the end.
And I also want to say that I think the songs that Agneta sings the lead on, the songs that I sing the lead on, it's perfect the way it is.
Yeah.
I could never have done The Winner Takes It All the same way as Agneta has.
And there are songs she could have done the same way, are there?
You're very kind, and the bell is ringing. Thank you very much indeed for talking to Radio 2.